Recently, we heard of a beautiful, privileged young woman who has everything in the world to live for. Her name is Ali. She has AIDS. And she's not one of the high-risk people. She got it even though she's not an IV drug user, she's not a hemophiliac, and she is heterosexual. Her story holds lessons for young people everywhere.
3 a.m. on November 8th. I lie awake, wide awake. Violent anger and frustration swirl around me, leaving me immobile. I try to channel the feelings, to release them. I cannot. I try to understand them. I cannot. Living like this, living with this, is the hardest thing anyone could have to deal with.
It is not a disease or a life anyone would have predicted for Allie. A child of privilege, she was raised in Manhattan by a doting family with access to the good life. An apartment on Park Avenue, a house in the country, private school. Allie was popular and outgoing, talented enough to dream of a promising future as an artist. By the time she was a teenager, Allie and her friends started hanging out at the trendy New York disco Studio 54. She was active sexually, but insists she used no drugs and was not promiscuous. And the handsome bartender named Court, who caught her eye there, became just a teenage flirtation. Then, 2 years into their friendship, Allie and Court decided to take the next step.
And we made a date with each other, and that's all it was. It was one night, and it was very romantic. There was candlelight and flowers and champagne and all of that. And we went to bed together. And that was it.
Did you ask any questions? Did you have protection that night?
I was on the birth control pill, so at that point in time, the only concern was not getting pregnant.
Last June, 6 years after she'd had sex with him, Allie got sick. It seemed like the flu, but when the symptoms persisted, Allie was hospitalized, and baffled doctors ran one test after another. Finally, the family doctor, his eyes filled with tears, gave her the news.
And he said, Allie, it's PCP. It's a pneumonia. And I said, I remember looking at him and not comprehending. So, and he said, it's AIDS. I said, what? How do you know? How can you be sure? And he said, because that's the kind of pneumonia that it is. And I'm sure. And I looked at my boyfriend and I said, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
When I first heard it, it was, I can't explain it except that it's like getting kicked in the gut. It's that feeling of losing your breath and the sudden shock of it.
I thought that I wouldn't be able to handle it. And many times, I would leave the hospital and walk home. And I cried one day from, we lived at 88th Street. I cried from 79th Street to 88th Street in the street. I just couldn't stop crying.
I know so many young girls who just, they go out with this one, they go out with that one. They don't think about precaution. They think it can't possibly happen to them. And even I thought that way once. It did happen to me, and I was not promiscuous. I do have my sad times, and there are times when I cry myself to sleep and think, oh, I'm all alone in bed, and, I want companionship, and it's so unfair. And yeah, there are definitely times when I get very angry, but I'm not directly angry at any person in particular. I'm just angry at the fact that it had to be this way. Imagine a couple with their only child, the light of their life, their future, all of the things they want for me, and me being of the age where it's time for me soon to get married and have children and go on with a life, all of a sudden coming face to face with something like this where there's no cure. It doesn't care about money or power or anything. It just only cares about the fact that you're a human being, and any human being is susceptible to illness.
And if Allie can go to schools and talk to young people and let them realize that they must protect themselves, that they must be careful, and that if we can raise the consciousness of the parents to donate money towards AIDS research, we're going to lick it. I mean, our only hope is that we keep her healthy and they find something to cure her, because I can't believe it's going to be any other way.
It's highly unlikely that a man who wants to get a woman in bed is going to say as a prerequisite, exactly. I used to dabble in, intravenous drugs. It's just not something that someone is going to say if they have the, goal of getting you to bed. And, you can grow up with someone and know them their whole lives too, know their background and their parents and go to school with them. still not know who they've slept with. You know, no one knows for sure.
What can you say to somebody in a passionate moment?
Well,
Can you show me your sexual history? I mean, how do you put it?
if a person is really caring about another person, they won't be offended when the person says, I want to use a condom. They'll be happy about it. It's an act of love. It's an act of respect. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not an embarrassment anymore. And I think that the tides have turned to such a degree that hopefully, you know, condoms will become cool.
Some AIDS victims have chosen to suffer silently with a deadly disease. Others have come forward to share their tragic stories. For 26-year-old Alison Gertz, her fierce determination to tell her story gained her national attention and inspired a TV movie about her life. Alison Gertz became a public figure in 1989 when she announced to the world that she was a heterosexual who had contracted AIDS. Esquire magazine named her Woman of the Year, and she bravely spoke to high school and college students around the country, telling them that anyone could be a victim of this disease. Alison Gertz is indeed a modern-day heroine.
It's just a disease, you know. It's not like you are chosen to be, you know, to die, you know. But I think I was chosen to lead.
Allie Gertz became infected with the disease when she was only 16 and had one sexual encounter with an older man. Now, in the television movie Something to Live For, Molly Ringwald plays Allie and shows how she made her private suffering public in order to make more people aware of AIDS.
I was 16 years old the night that I slept with Darren. 6 years later, I got AIDS.
Ringwald says she was in awe of Allie's courage from the first time they met. She spent a week with her at home to prepare for the role and was struck by her frankness. Allie is proud of her accomplishments as a spokesperson for AIDS awareness and hopes that the TV movie of her life story reaches a wide audience.
In effect, did you write it? I mean, did you talk it through with the writers?
You know, a lot of the movie was based on my journals, which I've kept since I was 16 years old. And the writers used my journals. And I mean, some of the stuff is dramatized, but not the really horrible stuff. The really horrible stuff in the film, the hospital scene, was actually much worse in real life, but they didn't want people to be, you know, turn off their TVs, you know, and say, oh, you know. So it's bad enough.
Where's the roller coaster right now? How you doing? Not good?
I mean, you know, I'm pretty much bedridden and wheelchair bound. I mean, I can walk a little bit, but it exhausts me. You know, I'm still fighting the illness that I had that almost killed me, the one in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm still taking medication to suppress it. And if I stop the medication, it comes back. So it's you know, it's very exhausting for me. She's my mother, and she takes care of me, and she's with me every day, every minute. And nobody else could ever possibly take care of me the way she does, because
no one could put up with her.
Right.
No one would. Somebody else would tell you off.
I am impossible these days. I mean, I want everything when I want it immediately, now, yesterday.
And I can't blame her either.
I mean, it's a thing, you know, when you don't know how much time you have left to live, you just want anything. And
she wants everything yesterday.
Yeah.
This is a unique opportunity, and I hope that I use it responsibly. I want you to tell people what the message is.
You know, the most important work that I'm doing right now is teaching people how to protect themselves. You know, I always say, okay, abstinence is the only safe sex. That's true. But it's very unrealistic to tell kids to abstain, because kids all feel immortal. And so therefore my message is, please talk to your children about sex. Don't be afraid. It's life or death now, you know. Let's not be embarrassed about it. This disease is spreading in the, you know, high school and colleges all over the country now. And, you know, people must use condoms, and they must use spermicide with the condoms, because the condom's not 100% you know, efficient. And, I mean, I did this so that I could help people.
If we can save a life, and maybe we lose a life, we've done something.
What I'm going to do is go around your waist, and on the count of 3, I'm going to help to lift you, and you're going to scoot your bottom over here. Okay? Can you manage?
Yeah.
Or can you stand all the way? You can stand all the way. All right, let's give that a try then, okay? I got you here. On the count of 3, you're going to go up and stand. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, but it's hard on me.
Beautiful. You got it, babe. Stand straight. Allie, lift your head up. Al, lift your head up. Beautiful. Okay, honey. Now turn around. I got your knees. That's it. 1, 2, 3. Sit down. Beautiful. You do good dancing together, huh? Let's get this out of the way. Get your breath. Okay. Get your breath.
When you have AIDS, you can never be carefree again. That's a little thing, but it's the most important way to describe the feelings that go with this illness.
Because I need my father.
He's coming home shortly. They just called.
Okay. Well, that's enough for me to stay alive for.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Hey, Saki. They're soft. How are you doing, Lisa?
Enough light? Mm-hmm. We're recording sound?
You having a good time? You having a good time with your friend?
Yes.
I see your little belly. Mwah. I love you. I want to just scrunch you, but gently. Can I scrunch you gently?
I want them all to be able to grow old, to be able to have all the things that I can't have now. This is a disease that takes away futures.